And I realize now also how people feel when they have to deal with new doctors and so forth. So I get all of that part, but I say this all to say that yes, I'm active and I am present in the sense when it comes to my health care. But when it came to diabetes, I was scared. I was dead silent.
Hello, and welcome to Your Health Matters. I am your host, Vivian Ayuk, pharmacist, certified diabetes care and education specialist, and founder of Sorogi. I am so grateful for this opportunity and platform to provide information, engage, and support people of African descent living with chronic health conditions. It has been a joy working with so many people to produce this podcast. We start things off with diabetes, and today's episode is focused on what it's like living with diabetes. Joining me for this very important conversation is a really amazing lady, and she's going to share her journey, discuss the challenges with nutrition, stress, and much more. We hope this conversation will improve your understanding of the daily struggles of living with diabetes, provide an avenue for people to get their questions answered, and learn more about the small things they can do every day to improve their health. Ms. Zena Copeland, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. I wasn't going to give my last name. And the reason why is because I was going to tell my age. So now,
That
no, I can't tell you I'm 25 now. But I want you to keep all of that and you saying what you said on there because it is funny. We lie about a lot of things, and healthcare is one of the places we should not lie about, especially with our doctors and providers who are helping us. So, no, I am Zena. I'm 52 years old and I live in DC. And I've had diabetes for probably over 12 years and possibly more. So, the confusion with that is I think a lot of people do the same thing that I did was there's a point when you know that you have something and then you really know you have a health situation. Just using diabetes, for example, they tell you you have it, and it's not till you find yourself knocked out in a corner in a sugar high that you really realize that, oh, yeah, I think I have an issue. And I've gone through a lot of transitions through my journey because it is a journey and it's a daily journey with diabetes. You already know I'm a funny character, but
Tell me
I'm
about it.
I'm honest about it. And so with that being said, I'm not from the city. I came from like a country type atmosphere, sort of suburbs. And so when it came time that I was told, because at the time when I was pre-diabetes,
Started out with pre-diabetes, being diagnosed with pre-diabetes.
pre-diabetes, I hate that term. I hate that term. I understand why people use it, but I hate that term. One, when I went to ask people, I didn't have anybody who had diabetes. I didn't have any information. This was before the search engine was used like it was and so forth. So I didn't resource anything.
You did not Google it.
In fact, were we Googling or were we doing something else about 15 years ago? I just I was so out of it. So long story short, I didn't put but also the reason for that is because the way my doctors told it to me. It's like I asked them, trust me, I asked them first. And the reply I got, what is diabetes? Well, it has to do with your eating. Or they told me, oh, yeah, you need to get this together because, it's bad. And it was just so blase like that. And the way they gave it to me is the way I took it. So it's not, hey, I got to change my eating. Okay, I can do that. And so what? I don't drink as much sodas or I don't, it didn't change anything because of the way they gave it to me. So as far as me sharing it with anybody, telling anybody or whatever, I didn't. I mean, I asked the people I knew and nobody had it. So that's what made it that way. And I consider that period of my journey the era of my dopeness, where I was literally in a stage of like being high, unaware of anything, just being a duh.
So you
And then
never really understood what it was and what
nothing,
complications are and all the
nothing. I couldn't express or ask anybody about something I didn't really know myself. So in that instance, the medical society let me down. So I was in a better position to seek on my information and meet the needs of what I could have done pre-diabetic.
so you believe that was a missed opportunity with your
Uh,
providers? Like if you understood what the condition and the seriousness of it, you would have made different choices?
100%. If somebody had told me that if you don't get this in control, you will no longer be able to drink sodas, juice, eat fruits the way you like, candy, blah, blah. If somebody had threw that into me and told me you will have millions of yeast infection episodes, you'll have, I mean, if they had told me all of that and the vision issues, the neuropathy, and explained what all those things were, trust me, I would have made the change. And if they had even said that and not even put the part about losing weight, because I hate when people, when you're heavy set, they feel like everything is tied into you losing weight. Your teeth won't bother you if you lose weight. You know what I'm saying? You won't have a headache if you lose weight. So everything being attached to that, but gave the real honest answer, gave it direct and hard, I would have changed. And then at that point, because they said those things, I would have knew what I had to change. So not only knowing what it is, putting me into the dietitian right then, it would have changed everything. Everything. So after the phase of being in a state of dopeness, I finally got the prescription and the meter thing. And I say that because that's how it was given to me.
Mm.
So I'm thinking if I take the pill is going to cure it all. And the meter thing, I don't even really know what it's for, just to just check and to see if I'm too high or too low. So from that point, I just muddled around. For 7 or so years, I muddled around. I didn't know what I was really doing. I'm just, uh, and muddling. And just imagine, I mean, honestly, having a car, driving it around for 7 years and never doing any maintenance on it, never rotating the tires, never getting any oil changes, nothing, just riding it on gas alone for 6 and 7 years. It wouldn't happen.
It would
The
happen.
car would let you down. So ultimately, my body began to let me down. So once we got to that part, now I'm like 10, 15 years into it, and now I need help and I need answers. And thankfully, some things in medicine and some things have changed, beginning with people being better advocates for other people and making other people aware and including the doing more promotions and things like that to speak up on diabetes. I didn't see that much back then, but now it was apparent. And what happened to me was what had happened. What had happened was I got into a group that was dealing with diabetes and long chronic disease issues.
A community program that
The need
for
program.
support. Share a little bit about that if you don't mind.
So I say this because this is just a small effort. a small effort that made a major impact. I went to my local library. I don't visit it often. I'm just like, whatever. I showed up in there. And I believe that's how I got into this group. And I saw the flyer and I said, ooh, I'll come. Or I think they came and they had their class after my other class that I was taking. But long story short, it was in my local library, didn't cost a thing but my time. That's it. And I showed up, and there were a reasonable amount of other people there. Not an exorbitant, but a perfect amount of people grouped together, different ages, male and female, sharing and experiencing knowledge and connecting. It turned the ball around because now I'm hearing the things I've gone through and the things I've gone past, and I'm getting the understanding on different things. And so that connection now loosened me up to experience the knowledge that I needed to receive. That was the blessing. That was the blessing. And it was the right place, the right time, and the right people, all in the combination. And so that's where my journey has gone. And now I know more, so I can do more, but I still have to continue the evolving to the state where I'm in control of it. It takes more time. It's because you're taking someone's lifetime habits, telling them they're wrong, and then having them to switch it up and switching them out in a meaningful way, intentional and deliberate. And that takes time. Only person I ran across who had diabetes, and I kid you not, the only person I ran across who had diabetes was a girlfriend of mine. And I went to ask her about it. And I asked her, she was on her break and had the door tilted open in the bathroom. And so she said, come on in. And how was your day? Or what about my doctor appointment? And she asked about it. And I told her, she said, oh, diabetes? Oh, that's okay. And she said this as she was eating a Snickers bar
Oh,
and shooting herself in her bun. I was like, really? I mean, I think about it now, but I was like, oh, okay. So it's nothing much to it.
hold up a second. Hold on. We got to go back, rewind. So you're saying she is taking insulin, if I'm hearing you correctly,
Yeah.
and she was enjoying her sneaker bar and telling you, oh, it's not a big deal.
Do you hear me? So I'm like,
Oh,
wow. But that's all I had. That's all I had. So I didn't include anybody into this. It was, I mean, like I said, that's why I had that period of just being oblivion to what I had, and then to a point where I think I have something, but I'm just muddling my way through it. I'm taking a prescription, but I really don't know how to take the prescription really properly. Honestly, now knowing, of course, further in the future, I don't, I'm not using it accurately. I don't know that the meter, not the meter thing, is actually a tool. I don't know how to use the tool, and I don't recognize that it is its full capacity to help me improve. So I that's my journey, and I had nobody to share that with, and nobody to give me feedback from that. Which again, the group situation, you have that. So if there's questions you have a safe place to express it, expose yourself, and receive feedback, help, and guidance, and some more stuff. So I totally advocate for that. I just, wow, as I think back to it, I don't mean to be mean, but the doctors and all of them, they failed me.
okay.
Even to the pharmacy at that time, failed me when they knew they were giving me a new meter, giving me new diabetes medication. And even if it was an old prescription, and let's say I'm new at your pharmacy, no one stepped up and said, have you seen a dietitian, or are you getting any kind of, diabetes information?
Education. And I was getting to that because I was, from hearing you share your story, it sounded like when you were diagnosed, you did not get offered diabetes education. and resources that could support you out in the community. Sounding like you got a prescription and a monitor, and they sent you on your way.
Let me put it this way. One time, okay, a couple times somebody did mention it, but it wasn't enforced.
Got you. It
It
wasn't like a
wasn't.
real conversation with your doctor with a plan in place and say, here's a program or a few of them, sign up, here are the benefits. What do you think? Like it wasn't something that was discussed as part of your care plan?
You're correct, but you see how you said it? That's how it shouldn't be said. This is what's going to turn your stuff around. This is what you have to take. You
Got
have to take it. It was just like blase presented to me, and they're just going to show you the portions that you should eat. So after I saw what the doctor was saying, well, why do I need to go to a class? No, I don't need to do that.
Mm. Did you ever
The
get one of those flyers, the plates on it and stuff like that? Was that any of that information ever given to you?
Again, the plates. What? So now, what I'm gonna eat about a fistful of fried chicken, and so I'm gonna eat a fistful of macaroni and cheese, and a hand's length of something else. You get what I'm
I,
saying? So it's still not the connection. It's still not. It's still not giving me the information. And I'm going to tell you something. I heard where Medicare only wants to cover 10 hours.
that's correct. The first year you are enrolled in the diabetes program, yes, first year of diabetes education is 10 hours covered, and then after that is just 2 hours per year. So what do you think about that? Go ahead.
I laugh at it. I don't know if you've ever been to one of these because they always do advertising on the radio. I mean, they do more advertising on the radio than at the time diabetes information was being advertised. These flipping houses things,
Hmm.
they spend more time in flipping housing meetings or conferences than you want to spend on
Mm.
diabetes education.
Like talk about priorities, right? Where we're putting our money.
You hear what I'm saying? And flipping a house, then on health and the expenses that are needed for healthcare coverage. And I just, again, like I said, no, it's not. This is your option. No, you have to take this. You really have to take this because first of all, you need to find out what you're eating. If you sat down right now and I said, what does your diet consist of? You could not write down or tell me everything you eat. It would take you some time to figure out all the things that you consume in your life. Then, on top of that, now this is just a general thing. Let's say you are a typical low income person and you buy things based on how much you can get for the price. Oodles of noodles, 24 pack is probably about three something, $4. Now, see the way I make it, I put hot dogs in there. So a pack of cheap hot dogs is about $4. And so that's $8 meal right there. Okay. Then Chef Boyardee, which I don't eat or never liked, but those are like less than $1 to $1 something a can. So that's like dinner and lunch right there, and a bowl of cereal for breakfast. So cereal, unfortunately, is more expensive now.
So you're mentioning, yeah, food, being able to afford the food, it's also an issue, right?
And then I'm saying this on a double fold purpose. So you've already started from the worst possible diet in the world. So now I've got to tell you how to change that.
And
You
do
got
it
to
on a budget.
and do it in, but so you got to allow time for what do you eat and why do you eat that? Because like you said, are you doing it because budget? Are you doing it because you can't cook? All those things, because those are important. Those are important. And if it wasn't for that group that I became part of, which was part of a diabetes and long term care that was in the community based by DC, that later became part of diabetes education with Sarogi, I wouldn't be noticed for a lot of things. Like somebody said to me, why are you eating what you eat? And I said, because I don't cook. And so they resourced me to a place that fixed food for me. So that eliminated that uncertainty of meals. It eliminated having to miss meals because I couldn't fix something or whatever. But that's important to tell people now what you should eat. Well, actually, when you tell them what they're eating and why not to eat it, what's going to happen, then you have to tell them what to eat and why to eat it so that now they can eat intentional and with direction. And then you have to tell them now if this situation applies, because literally life happens and there's holidays, there's family. There's going to be moments when they're going to get off track from being depressed, going through life issues, dating and eating outside. What do you do in these situations? So you want to equate all these things from one person's life and you want to squeeze it in 10 hours? That's why I laugh at it. It makes absolutely no sense. And you're cheating not only the person, but you are really setting people up for a situation where they'll may lapse back and defeat the purpose of fighting diabetes.
Thank you
Um,
so much for sharing that. That I think is a lot of the challenges of managing diabetes. So, I mean, I love the way you put it. Say it's not enough to just say someone to eat healthy. You got to spend that time figuring out why they're eating the way they are. Can they even afford the food you're asking that you think are the healthy choices? That is a lot more to it than just saying make these changes. And it takes more than 10 hours. That continuous support is what's needed for someone to begin to turn things around, have the resources they need, and feel supported throughout the journey. Do you think that most providers even know about resources available in the community? They can, from your experience though, over the years, have you had a doctor say, hey, there is this program here, I would like you to join, or something to that effect?
okay, this I hope everybody listens to and understands. And I'm ashamed to say it, but I need somebody to understand. I have a great team of providers around me. All of them have the ability to talk and discuss other ailments that I might have. Like, for instance, my dentist, if I show her something on my foot, she's able to say, oh, yeah, that probably will need an ointment, set an appointment with you. Not diagnosing it, but saying, you're all right. It's not an alien, attacked you last night. Go set an appointment for a doctor. Stop being silly. You know what I'm saying? So they're able to look at different things and assist me. Not everybody has that, and I made that's what I prefer. That's the care I prefer. Knowing what you need and knowing the assistance that you need is important. Am I a person who goes to the doctor a lot? No. Even though I have a lot of ailments, no, I really don't, because we talk, we have a great communication when we are there, and if I have questions, they explain the medications and so forth. But recently, because some people have left either the providing service or whatever, I'm having to get new ones. And I realize now also how people feel when they have to deal with new doctors and so forth. So I get all of that part. But I say this all to say that, yes, I'm active and I am present in the sense when it comes to my health care. But when it came to diabetes, I was scared. I was like that commercial where people say you talk everywhere else, but when you get to your doctor's office, you're silent.
Hmm. Hmm.
I was dead silent. I had no knowledge. I asked, and because I didn't get answers, I just didn't know where to go from there. And that was in the beginning stage.
Has that changed though? It's more information, like you mentioned, there's more information now. The American Diabetes Association, they're doing more awareness and advocacy. Do you think that has changed as compared to
Let me,
when you were initially diagnosed?
let me tell you, this is the funny. Well, I'm leading up to the funny part. So I'm having doctors, and I'm like I said, I'm still going through the same stuff, same old, same old. And I had a doctor and I'm having doctors for long periods of time, 5 years. Next doctor, 7 years. She left, and I got another doctor. And so my numbers were still high and uncontrolled. And so my doctor, my primary care doctor, says, "Now, who's your endocrinologist? Who's monitoring your diabetes?
Mm.
Do you hear me?"
I hear
Some,
you. I'm hearing you.
someone after all of that finally asked the question, who's monitoring this? Who's really working with you to get this right? What are you doing regarding your diabetes?
Wow.
Do you hear me? And she had been my doctor for years. And I said, "You're the one." And her mouth opened up and she's like, "I'm not the one." Because she wasn't watching it. She wasn't really taking care of it. She was just refilling the prescription, refilling a standard
Wow.
prescription of metformin, and that was it.
And this is several years later, that question get asked, who is monitoring?
This
Yeah.
is several doctors of being with them years and years. This is being with her for almost 4 years, and she asked that question.
Interesting. I think then it really comes down to this. We teach a lot in the class that people need to realize that they're in control of their own health. That is a lot more people need information and to realize that they're in the driver's seat and not always think that, you know what I mean, this is the doctor driven. But no, you have to be aware. You have to be much more in control and driving the care that you want.
You do, and that's why I'm ashamed to say it. So yeah, yeah, and with other doctors in other situations, I was very open, very loud, and I share with all my doctors what I just saw this doctor, we did this, oh, I just changing this medication. So I've been sharing way before sharing became sharing. So I want you to know, so this I'm ashamed of that part that when it came to this, I didn't pursue, and because I'm thinking it's being taken care and acknowledged and being, et cetera. I don't know the protocol or what's going on. So I sat dumb in the plane. And while nobody was in the pilot seat. So I'll take that knock that you say, but nobody was in the pilot seat when it came regarding my diabetes. And I blame the medical field. One, because I think that they just don't understand their importance and role in the care and management of diabetes. Because not only should my primary care have been asked that question before she refilled the prescription or before anything, and every time she saw me, how's it going? How's your doctor and your so forth relationship dealing with your diabetes? Any disease that should be on there so that everybody's on the same playing field, making sure you are at your best health and that everybody's working on your behalf. It only takes 5 minutes to ask that question. And then, secondly, I think where they let down is I think that they believe that they probably don't know all this stuff that can be helpful. They're not in touch with all the resources and so forth. I'm trying to think of the way to say this nicely. The third reason is I think that they are socially unadept or ill informed. I think people and even communities think that diabetes will be specific, just, for those know it alls, that diabetes too is for fat people and people who have no control. You know what I'm saying?
That shaming and stigmatization of people
Absolutely.
who are heavy said to say that they must have caused it. If you could just get that weight down, you brought this on yourself.
Only for fat people. That diabetes too doesn't happen to skinny people. It doesn't. It's just a glutton thing. Use a glutton, and so they treat it that way, and they don't have any respect for the people who get it. And then there's the other part of that where not only that, but when it comes to people of color or in low income situations, that they got a bad diet, they ain't gonna change it. This is just I'm a wasting my time.
There is that bias already in there, and you saying that that also contributes
I
to why people not
I'm
people
going
of
to
family
say
not getting the support and the help they need.
it's people of color, but it's a black issue. It's a black issue. Why am I wasting on these people? They're going to go back to their Popeye's chicken the next day. You know what I'm saying? And I get that. I get that because you can get a bucket of 10 pieces of dark meat chicken at Popeyes for 10.99, and that's very greasy. And not saying that KFC is any better, but you can only get 2 pieces of biscuit and a soda for 6.99. You know what I'm saying? So as supporting and supplying my family, I got to go with the better deal. But there comes in the part where the doctor says you have to get nutritional. I need to hear a report that back that you got the nutritional.
I want to touch on something you brought up there, talking about, it's a black issue or something like that, the community we live in. I know I work in Southeast, and it's hard to find a good place to get nutritious food at a reasonable price. Every corner you turn, it's either Popeyes or McDonald's. And if you are, you have a limited amount of money, your money can go far in those places. So if you don't
Exactly.
have places where you can get really good food. Good, I mean, when I say good food, food that is good for you and helps you get the nutrients you need so you can be healthy and thrive, it is hard. It takes more than just willpower. If you don't have those resources in your community, it makes it even harder to try to say, I want to implement these lifestyle changes. I want to change the way I do things. But if I cannot afford the food, and it's even when I can afford it, we don't have the stores and the places to get it. That just makes
Exactly.
it really, really hard to do. Sometimes people are not aware because they practice in the area, but they've never really walked to the community.
And
They've never
that's
been to the neighborhood grocery store. They've never tried to shop in them. So you have no idea what the average person has to live with and the choices they have to make every day.
that's absolutely true. And you know what? I'm just going to speak bluntly about this. Most of the doctors and facilities that there are in the community are from people who want to give back to the community. They're either of color or people who want to do good and do right. So I'm not saying that they're ill intentioned, but like you said, they may not have even walked through the neighborhood. They have probably never been to any of the businesses to see what kind of carryouts and food places are available and gone to the grocery stores. In my area, there are only 3 grocery stores and they are ratchet. I'm appreciative of it, but the what they carry, the ability of what they carry, the situations in the stores are atypical of what happens in low income areas. The quality of the fruits and vegetables that they receive is the lowest. And I don't want to say the name of this mainstream grocery store. They had an advertisement for apricots at a nice sale price. The store never got the apricots.
No way.
So fine for your stores that those places, but what about the places where there's other people who could use that, who might like that? You're not even allowing us the opportunity to meet something that we may like. Not everybody just eats apple, oranges, and watermelon.
You're right. You're right. And it goes
It,
to other parts too. And it's not just nutrition. I remember when we started the walk in the community, remember the walks we used to do? That's when I really realized that the pavements, the sidewalks, were not really safe. There were certain areas where you really had to pay attention, or you were really at increased risk for fall. But we just say, what, go for a walk, right? And not realizing this person might not really have a safe place to actually make this happen.
so to address that, I would have to really go in detail, but I will address it because you definitely brought it up. Half the time I didn't join you all is because I have physical ailment. I had a walker. I went from the wheelchair that I had, and I had just gone down to walkers. So I used a walker. And just outside of the library, you walk less than 6 feet, and the tile was all broken up from that tree, and nobody had fixed it. Remember? And you go further down and stuff, and but this is the thing. So I guess the mayor had a program where she would come and she fixed some of that stuff, but on other sides of the street where it was already there. So it just baffled me. And then you take 3 weeks to fix that, and I'm like, so now we don't have nothing for 3 weeks. And so did it get fixed? Not really, because now it's all da da da. If this was someplace else, it would have been done in a day or two, and it would have been done right. So, yeah, you get shoddy stuff for too long, and people really come complacent. They settle. They have expectation that this is their life, and therefore that's it. There's no use of doing anything because it won't change, and that's hope lost. And oftentimes, really, a lot of medical issues take you to places where you begin to feel lost with your hope because without the correct information, without the correct training and continued work, if you don't get your diabetes in order, the truth is you will deteriorate your veins and possibly get neuropathy. Your vision could become impaired. Your kidneys will become affected. Your ability to produce insulin will decrease. You will possibly gain a lot of weight. And they don't tell you that. They tell you, well, it depends on you. It could, a lot of things happen differently to people. But the truth is, you going to get something. You going to get one or two things. You're going to have kidney issues if you don't get it in control, if you don't work to bringing your numbers, your A1C numbers, that's important. And the only way to know and bring your A1C's numbers down is to know what your glucose number is. And that's the importance of using the meter. Oh my goodness, now I know what that meter thing is. Yeah. You
Finally
know,
makes sense why you had to
you know
prick your
what I'm
finger,
saying?
right?
And now I know why I need to do it consistently and more than one time a day. And just all of that takes change. And now I'm having it as a tool rather than some piece of equipment that I may carry with me. It changed the whole thing. And my medication now is medication. It's not just that thing that's supposed to clear all everything. Because I now know that it needs to work for me. So if my numbers go down, I need to talk to my doctor about getting the effective change to
I
make
like
things
that.
happen.
So you're
So,
monitoring more, so you're able to have much more meaningful conversations and with your doctor, and you'll be
yes,
more proactive now in your care because you're seeing
yes,
your numbers, you
yes.
know what that means, and you're having a conversation, at least insisting that conversation be takes place.
And that's because I've been given the knowledge to empower me to ask the question. I've been given the knowledge of the resource and how to use it. I'm being equipped now. Before I was just what is this? I don't know what I'm supposed to play kickball with it. It made no sense. And that's the part that a physician plays. And I don't know if they realize it, how important it is. And then I know people are going to say, well, how much time does a doctor have to spend with you? But honestly, 5 minutes, like I said, can be used to have you seen a nutritionist? How did it work with a nutritionist? What's going on? If they know that you have the diabetes, when was the last time you saw your endocrinologist? Has any new medications changed? And of course, monitoring the A1C every so often. Being that part takes only 5 minutes. It doesn't take away from why you're seeing your actual doctor, why you may came there for that particular time. But that's an important 5 minutes when it comes to preventing, comes to managing, comes to helping your client have a better, prosperous, long life.
Thank you for that. I want to touch on something that comes up all the time, and that's mental health, like dealing with this stress, like the daily, decisions you have to make, and how sometimes people just feel overwhelmed. What would you say to having had diabetes for all this number of years, ups and downs, develop some complications? How important is mental health in managing diabetes?
Okay, I'm laughing because I'm probably the only person who admittedly claims I'm not right. I'm crazy.
Say
And yet,
crazy. You say, oh, you need help you need help. I wouldn't really go as far as saying, I know you were long enough. I don't think the right word to describe you.
When I say that, even the doctors say that to me. So I'm like, you guys don't pay me attention. But the truth of the matter is, mental health is 100% of it. And I'm going to tell you because I do suffer. And I 2014 to 2015, I had some very major medical blows to me. And I had never ever been that sick before or required to be in a hospital for a long stay or any of those things. So I was devastated. I was devastated and overwhelmed. And so I was in a nursing home, rehabilitation home, and I was young. And that was one thing. You know what I'm saying? So here you are 40 something in a place with 80-year-olds and people drooling from their mouth and in the hallway just dying, and here I am and I'm there, and what where and what of my life, you know? So I knew I needed help. I knew I needed help, and I'm spiritual, so I knew I needed to pray, but I couldn't remember how to pray. This is how overwhelmed I was. I just, it's not like I didn't know to put your hands together or close your eyes or bow or go on your knees. I didn't know the words or how to start or what to say. I just couldn't do it. And so I needed a Bible, I needed something, I needed some connection.
And that would have been helpful to you. And what about just asking for help or
I,
see someone
I
like a therapist?
hang on, that's what I did next. So I told the woman, "Do y'all have a psychiatrist? Do y'all have a counselor?" So she said, "Oh, we have somebody, and they come around once a month. And oh, I think she's due to be here next week or this week." And so she said, "But you don't need a psychiatrist. You're always laughing. You're always happy. You don't need a psychiatrist."
Hmm.
And so I had to take the mask off. I had to take the mask off. And within seconds, I was in tears. And when I told her just the story and things and how she just realized, oh my gosh, this woman it was devastated.
And she broke, yeah, she realized how serious it is. And in all honesty, you're always happy. You're always, you know what I mean, in good spirit. So
So
tell me what happened next when she realized how serious this was and how you really needed help.
I scared her. I scared her. She had to be in her 20s, and I scared her because she wasn't expecting that. She didn't know that. She didn't see that coming. And she saw with deepness and sincerity that that was what I was feeling and that was what was going on. And her eyes bubbled out, and she was like, "Okay, I'll check it on it, and I'll tell you right away when they're coming, and I'll sign you up and all this other stuff." So I asked her, of course, please keep this private because psychiatry has, people have their opinions, and yeah, exactly. And I just didn't know. So anyway, when I say took my mask off, I think that commercial where they have people, for the psychological medication, where the woman has that little mask that she just puts on a little
Hmm. Hmm.
circle with a smile. It gives you an idea, but it literally is like the movie with the mask with Jim Carrey, and it's such a good facade. People really believe that's you, but it's underneath is really something really dark, really, really a lot going on. And unless you let somebody in, they can't see it. Sometimes people spill out a little bit, but I held it in pretty good with what I was going on right then. And it was at the surface. I didn't take but a moment for me to just with all my emotions and tears and fears that were going on with all these surgeries that I just had. I'm about to have, whether I was healing, I couldn't stand, I couldn't get up, I couldn't understand everything. And the treatment I was getting was so unreal, it was too much.
Were you
Here we
able to finally get help?
no, not there. Not right away. So the psychiatrist woman came. So she came to my room and she had a nasty disposition.
Mm.
I went down to the rec room to see maybe if there was a Bible there also. And so a woman came in and she was like, "Why are you in this place, this area, and so forth, da, 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 and etc. This is my area." And I was like, I was told I could come in here and look at these books right here. And she's like, "Well, you need to leave." So she was rude and she was nasty and everything. And so she left and I went to my room. So about 30 minutes later, 20 minutes later, she shows up. She's a psychiatrist.
Oh no.
She
Oh
had
no.
the same nasty disposition. I don't even know that she realized I was that woman because now I'm in the bed and not in a wheelchair. And she's like, "Well, why do you need to see me?" Really? Why do I need to see you? Tell me, why would I want to tell you now?
Exactly right. I would not. Oh
And
no.
so the assertive and defensive me is now out. And I'm like, you are a disgrace to your profession. And I said it. How dare you? You don't know what I'm going through that you would come in here and act this way. So look, it wasn't no crazy showing in. It was, I snapped into my personal defensive and assertive way, and I told her, what really? You are not. I mean, that's not how you act. That's not even how you conduct yourself. It's not even the way you should even approach your clients. Where did you get your degree?
Oh, you had to go there.
I did. Because you look, if you don't like people and you want to comfort, you can go work with animals. There is a job perfect for everybody. Don't waste your skills. you know, really. Yes, it's normal that if you have to change your life, you would feel bad. It's going to take effort. You would be angry. Change is not easy. It brings about a lot of emotions. Period. Now, on the same token, d- diabetes is a disease. It's a disease. It's not indulgent experience. It's not you a glutton. It's not because you fat. It's a disease. And it doesn't care if you're white, black, rich, or poor. You eat cake all day or you eat salads and so and so. It doesn't matter. It's a disease. So, with that brings on a lot of feelings. Like, what did I do? What could I have done? What this and that? And those are a lot of questions. And of course, it brings guilt. So you need somebody to help navigate through those things. And stress and cortisone and all that stuff, that adds to it. People do eat out of stress. People do things differently when they're in stress. So you can fight the battle if the soldier's not there. Having that support and having that being acknowledged now 100% I see that, and I see that with a lot of doctors asking those questions. The only problem I have with that, they have this questionnaire and it's generic. It's good to a little bit, but it doesn't deal with all situation. And of course, my thing when when I talk to the people and I'm doing it, I'm like, I'm poor, so of course I'm depressed. I, I can't do anything. I have no tool to take care of business, pay for my bills. I'm just barely making it out there, and I'm having to deal with the kindness and charity of strangers to just get by. So, no, I'm not happy with my situation. Yes, I'm upset about it. Now, am I going to kill myself? No. So now I need psychotherapy. Maybe not. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Maybe not. So we might need a better reference, but Truthfully, yes. Mind and counseling are very important in your health regimen. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to stop talking about that subject. When I was in a nursing home, I laid next to a woman about a couple feet. You know how they do the beds. Her family came to see her. I mean, she had grandchildren, great grandchildren. Her son and daughter came. They all loved on her. She was apparently a beautiful woman, everything like that. And they were so happy and they were hoping for her to be okay. She was alert and everything. And she died in the night.
Oh,
This woman died feet from me. I, why not me? I don't have any grandchildren. I don't have any children. Nobody is waiting for me at my house. Why not me? And it makes you think of things. And I thought about all the things I want to do, all the things I hadn't done, all the things I missed out on. And I met a guy and we would play bingo. They had bingo. They had the oldest magazines in the world. I mean, it was like, now imagine today and the magazine they had in there is that Jay-Z and Beyonce are dating. You know what I'm saying? Like, really? How old is this? And but they didn't have books, they didn't have much to do. But in the little bit of things, we had that they had bingo, and so that was something to look forward to. But this location didn't have movie night, they didn't have other things, but you had to fight. And so I found friendship in other people. I went to go visit them in their rooms, different things like that. And I participated and I got better fast and I was able to leave. That strength in that fight is what makes the difference. And that all has to do with your mind. And that's my last to say on that. Your mindset really has to be on the fact that you can take it, you can do it, you can make the difference. And even to remember I was talking about that group,
mm-hmm.
doesn't take a million people. It really doesn't. It took just one person, small thing, and made it happen. And it affected a lot more people and it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I encourage other people to look it up and find out the details about it to see how just sharing, talking, being with other people can make a difference. And nutrition and all those things, and recognizing how exercise helps, mental things. It's a lot of things that can help. Now, not everything is for everybody, but enough of the things that work for you can make a difference.
Absolutely. This has been a really great conversation. And thank you so much for sharing your journey, your experience. Just to summarize, we've talked about, you mentioned the importance of education early on when someone is, even when it's pre-diabetes, the things they can do, having that really great communication, having a plan makes a difference, but really important having education, resources, and support. Those were things that you wish you had early on in your diagnosis and would have made a difference. We're coming towards the close of it. What would you, two things, positive things you want to leave our listeners with regarding diabetes, just every day living with diabetes? What are two things you want to leave with them, encouraging messages, and not just for people living with diabetes, family members, and even providers? So, one or two things you want to leave our listeners with today.
Well, I hope that you and everybody knows that everything that I said today has nothing of anything to do just with diabetes. This applies to cancer, this applies to whatever disease or ailment that you're fighting through. Education, education, sharing and knowing and experiencing with other people really is a great thing. But I think one of the most important things is that nothing in your life, and I say absolutely nothing in your life, you are experiencing alone. At one point in time, if not everybody, somebody has gone through it. Somebody is going through it, and somebody will go through it. And as long as you remember that, you can take the guilt, the shame, you can take the anger away from what you're going through. let down your shield, and ask for help. Asking for help is a big tool because it opens the doors for resources and people to help. Yes, there were no celebrity endorsements and commercials like there are today. And that's also because medicine is changing. As years come on, we're going to have more things to, and hopefully we will eliminate diabetes. I don't know. But for the moment, knowing that you're not alone, taking away all that pain and opening up because sharing really helps in that caring process. So that's what I want to leave with.
Thank you so much, Zena. I've learned so much about your journey, and I hope our listeners too will learn a lot about the struggles of living with diabetes. I thank you so much for being open and sharing your experience.
No problem. I would love to share again on any other topic that you have. I hope everyone can pull pieces from this. You know, sometimes you have to listen to things more than once as it addresses you in your life. And this is like another resource that can help, you know. So looking for this and other things is really great.
Thank you. And this concludes our show for today. For more information about this episode and to continue the conversation online, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Soroki Health. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we love hearing from you. So drop us your questions, share your feedback, and even suggestions for future episodes. If you like the show, consider leaving us a review. This helps us get the word out and allow others to find our podcast. So until next time, remember your health matters.